Welcome! Hello, lovely people. I'm so glad to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I have an apartment update for you in just a minute. But first, Cleo and I would like to wish everybody here in the States a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all will have a lovely day. She's so sweet and dainty. I just love her so much. So anyway, I hope you have a really lovely Thanksgiving. I hope whatever you're doing this year. I hope that this year Thanksgiving for most of us is grounded in gratitude and hope for the future. So I think it's going to be a lovely day. We're going to do a little thing here at the house with the 6 of us and just really enjoy the day and just enjoy life and where it's headed and where we've been and just be grateful, just be grateful. On the holiday note, I wanted to give you guys a little heads up. I'm going to do something really exciting this year. I wanted to do Vlogmas, but when I really dug into it, I had to be honest with myself. It's a bit much for me. Vlogging every single day is a bit much for me. I've got too much other stuff going on, and I just don't have the time for it. So, I didn't want to be all stressed out and running around all holiday season. I love the holidays, and I really like to enjoy this holiday season. So what I decided to do instead is the 12 vlogs of Christmas. Back in the day when I had little kids, I ran a rather traditional holiday season for my family. And by that, what I mean is we did Advent, which is the 4 weeks before Christmas. And then we did Christmastide, which is the official 12 days of Christmas. It goes until January 6th. And then we did Epiphany, which is the day we celebrate when the wise men came to bring the gifts to baby Jesus. And we also did St. Nicholas Day on December 6th. I did that for my kids because, Christmas Day, I think, just gets too, and everybody's trying to do everything all at the same time. And then all this preparation and stress for one day, and then it's over. So I really dragged the holidays out. And December 6th was St. Nicholas Day. That's when my kids got their presents from Santa, which was kind of cool because then when I took my kids to go see Santa, they went and thanked him because they had already had their gifts. I got a couple of weird looks from Santa over the years, but by and large, it was just really nice. I got to take them to say thank you for what you brought me instead of this is what I want. So I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a nice gift to give my kids, to be honest with you. And other than that, that whole pre-Christmas that whole pre-Christmas season was Advent, which is a time of quiet reflection and gratitude. And you light candles every night, and I would journal every day and take time to really be still. And Advent is one of my favorite seasons of the whole year. I love that time to just check in with God and with yourself. I mean, I tend to do that pretty much anyway because it's who I am, but to have that whole season that's just for that it's absolutely the priority, and we're all kind of doing that together. I loved that. And then Christmastide started on Christmas Day and runs for 12 days, and we would do presents every day, and we would do, that's when I would send out my Christmas cards. So people thought I was late every year with my Christmas cards. But Christmastide is to celebrate the birth of baby Jesus. It's the celebration time of the holiday season. So I would host parties. Parties is a bit of a stretch. It was like dinner. And then on Epiphany on the 6th, we all had a special gift that we would give just with our intimate family. We would give gifts on that day. And it was wonderful. I loved celebrating the holidays that way. So my 12 vlogs of Christmas are going to go a little bit along with that, because that's why we're going all the way to January 6th for Epiphany. So that was a longer explanation than I meant to give you. But be on the lookout for the 12 vlogs of Christmas. They will be starting on December 1st. We'll just celebrate the holidays together, and I'm really looking forward to that. So be on the lookout for the 12 vlogs of Christmas starting December 1st. But now, let's talk quickly about the apartment. So what happened was the day that I was going to fill out the application, I had a weird feeling in my gut that it wasn't right. And there was one apartment complex that I hadn't looked at, and it was next door to the one that I was going to put the apartment in. Now, if you recall, when I was talking about the apartment, I was like, yeah, it's nice. It feels like a prison, a fancy prison, but it'll be nice. It'll be my own space. Everything will be wonderful, right? That's not really the best way to go into your apartment, is it? And yet I was convincing myself that was okay. So we went and we looked at this other apartment complex next door to that. It was called The Haven. I can tell you that because I'm not actually going to move in there. But it's called The Haven. It's a lovely place if you're in Central Florida. I highly recommend it. Talk to Kim. She is amazing and wonderful and beautiful, and she will give you an amazing experience, which is what we had. We went to The Haven, and I fell in love with, all three of us, we fell in love with this place. We fell in love with Kim. She was so sweet, and the place has just opened about 2 months ago. They only have about 40 units rented, so there's like 200 empty units, and they're still doing a little construction. There was still construction finishing up some of the parts on some of the buildings. So the place is so quiet, and there are 3 buildings. One that is in a U shape that surrounds the pool, and then 2 buildings on the other side of that. And they are 4 stories tall, and they have a pool, an amazing fitness center, a big clubhouse area that was just beautiful, a yoga lawn, which I loved that, a barbecue grill area, a dog park. This place is wonderful. And we looked at 4 different floor plans, probably about 6 different apartments. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but in one of the earlier videos, I said what I wanted to manifest was this apartment experience where I went knowing that I could get the apartment and just look and pick out the apartment that I actually want. Look everywhere and just pick out the apartment I actually want. Well, I did that. I manifested that experience. That is the experience that I had between the few apartment complexes that I looked at, but especially at The Haven, because this was it. We were going to apply for this apartment, and we were going to do it that night. Because it's all done online. So we were going to go home and then do it that night. So we were really seriously picking out an apartment, and we ended up on an apartment that is not at all the one I thought that I would get. And it was on the 4th floor overlooking the dog park, which I love because I could take my little puppers and it was right next to the elevator, so we could just go downstairs and get to the dog park super easy, because sometimes I get lazy taking them to the dog park right now. So it would have been really nice for them. She said we could see Disney fireworks from that balcony. Everything was perfect. It was perfect, and we were all set to move in. Well, I was all set to move in. And then we came home. And the application process got very convoluted. And we had some questions about some specifics. So the next day, we went back and we talked to Kim because she was so nice and so wonderful. And so we talked to Kim about the actual, like different bank statements that they needed. And I'm self-employed, so it gets convoluted for me. And she gave me such a layout of exactly what I would need to move into the apartment that I was like, okay, this is fantastic. I'm going to go home and I'm going to figure this out. I said, but I think there's a couple of these that I'm actually not going to have until next month. So we told Kim, and I feel bad about this now because this probably isn't true, but I told Kim that, okay, we'll be back towards the end of December to move in, because they have a really great move-in special that even would have made the cost so easy to get into the apartment. Everything lined up. Everything was aligned. And I was home, and I had all of that information, and I knew what I was doing, and I was excited, and it was fantastic. And then I meditated, and I got checked. I don't move well. Moving on an energetic and spiritual level kind of shreds me for a couple of months sometimes, because it's always been such a chaotic experience. So I don't intend to move again. Let's put it that way. Someday, if this manifestation thing goes well, I may end up at Golden Oak. That's my next move. Or else I'm going to stay in this apartment. Life being what it is. You can't say that for sure, but that's my plan, right? So my guide said to me, why are you going all in on an apartment that isn't your dream? And I was like, but it's beautiful and I love it. Why? What do you mean it isn't my dream? I have a couple of apartments in my head that would be my dream apartments. One that has been my dream apartment since I first moved to Florida. And I've never felt good enough to live in them. They're fancy. One's a high-rise in downtown Orlando. And they're not that costly, really. I looked at them when I was looking at everything, and I took them off the list first because I was like, I'm not good enough to live there. And I did it kind of intentionally. I did it saying like, no, I don't match the vibe of that place. I'm not good enough. So that stopped me dead in my tracks, because when I took them off the first time, it was more of the idea was like more of like, oh, well, that's not really my vibe. But when the guides made me like dive deep on it, I realized it's not my vibe, because I don't think I'm that good. I'm that fancy. I'm not that polished. I'm not that together to be able to even like apply and get accepted at a place like that. They probably need like 4 times the rent in your income or something crazy like that. I mean, I don't know. The other place is in Celebration. It has a saltwater swimming pool, which was one of the things I asked for. The other thing was a heated saltwater swimming pool. I haven't found that. Nobody heats their pools in Florida, and I understand that, but someday if I have my own home and my own pool, I will be heating it, because I love to swim. I want to swim year round. So anyway, that was hard to hear, and it took me back. It did, and I wrestled with it much of the night, because I want to move. I want to get this party started, but I don't want to move again. And they're trying to show me that over the course of this manifest, they said reset your timeline on the apartment to 6 months. They said if you do that, and if you do the work, you'll be ready for the Cleo wants out. They said you'll be ready for the dream. My guides have never misled me. So they're telling me that I will feel like I will first of all, just doing the self work is important, and why wouldn't I want to do that? It surprised me that I felt not good enough for these places. It surprised me that my self-worth was in a bit of a hole in that respect. And when I started this manifestation journey, that's what I said at the beginning. I'm manifesting experiences, and I'm manifesting healing and growth. Because I believe, manifestation is just like a buzzword. It's aligning yourself with the energies of the universe and doing your healing and raising your own vibe. All of that stuff is just good to do. But when you've got something on the line for it, like I want this apartment, it gives you that, go do it, get the work done, change your mindset, be more focused, take the action steps that you need to take. It isn't any different than a person who's not spiritual is probably saying that, they have a goal. I think in my head, the difference is there's manufactured manifestation, which I've done most of my life. I'm pretty good at setting goals and getting my goals. And then there's surrendered manifestation, which is a bit more hands-off approach, like with the apartment. If I were doing manufactured manifestation, I would have that apartment. I would be in that apartment. I would have moved in already. Or no, I would be moving in today. But that's not the point to this year. The point to this year is surrendered manifestation, to see where God leads, to see who I become for the process. So the apartment shifted on me. And that's probably going to happen all year long. I'm going to say, oh, I want to do this, and then it'll shift. But I trust God, and I trust my guides, and if it has shifted, they've got something better planned for me. So if I take a 6-month chunk of time, they still think actually that I just heard them. They're like, you can probably still get in by February, but we're going to put it on a 6-month time. And I'm going to do this internal work. I'm going to run the manifestation class again, on things like when you connect with your higher self or your future self, and take a better look at who am I in the future? What am I doing in the future? And then how do I make the changes now to get there? Manifestation, in the way that I understand it right now, and the way that it's working in my life right now, is 80% internal work and 20% action steps. And I think manufactured manifestation is the other way around. It's about 20% knowing who you are, knowing what your goals are, and then putting all the action steps down. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just really want to try this. I really want to try this. I appreciate and I'm grateful for the growth opportunities. I don't, I'm closer to death than I am birth at this point. Let's just put it that way. But I never want to stop growing, and I never want to stop learning, and I never want to stop reaching. So that's kind of just the point of this year for me, to see what can I do. So the Haven, as beautiful as it was, as wonderful as it was, is not where I'm going to end up apparently. And if it's better than the Haven, I'll be interested to see that. I'm not locking down on any apartment right now. I'm just going to do the internal work. I'm going to raise my, I'm going to work on my self-worth. I'm going to go through some, look for any kind of wounding, particularly from my early marriage. My husband and I were very poor. We had to declare bankruptcy very early on in our marriage, and we always struggled with money, and people always looked down on us for that. And his parents in particularly were very critical of us. And I think I need to look through and pick through that and see if there's some wounds and things in there that are causing me to settle in my life, particularly around money. So that's probably more than you needed to know, but there you go. So what's next, right? Well, immediately what's next is the 12 vlogs of Christmas. I am also going to start my sim channel. I'm going to do Let's Plays and stories with my sim game because I love it. I love it, and I wanted my storytelling back, so I'm going to put that out there, see if I can get that channel monetized, because that would be an extra source of income, which would be good for the apartment, but it would also feed my creative soul, which is also good. I'm continuing on my weight loss journey, which, had a few bumps there over the, all the running back and forth with the apartment and everything. I ended up completely off the wagon. I ended up having 2 Pepsis, I think a Pepsi 2 days in a row, and 2 Monte Cristo sandwiches. We went to the same restaurant twice. Cheddar's, if you know, you know. Cheddar's has a Monte Cristo sandwich that is exactly like my childhood memory of the Monte Cristo sandwich at the Blue Bayou at Disneyland, which is where my family always ate when we went to our Disneyland trips. That was our big meal. And so that sandwich, it emotionally holds a place for me. So we went and we sought out our Monte Cristo sandwich 2 days in a row while we were doing all of this apartment stuff. And the first day I don't regret it. First day, I earned that Monte Cristo. I enjoyed that Monte Cristo. The second day when we went back, that was overkill. I should have gotten the ribeye. Should have gone back to my carnivore stuff. But I didn't, and that's okay. I went up a couple of pounds. I'm back down again already. Last night, I dipped into some chili cheese fries because I was working on sim stuff, and the chili cheese fries does a thing to my brain that makes me very creative. I imagine it's like artists doing heroin. At least it's not heroin, it's chili cheese fries. The weight is great. That stuff is going so well. I'm so happy with it. And it'll be interesting because on the 12 vlogs of Christmas, I have places to eat, but they're places that I could get meat. So I'm going to try to stay carnivore through the whole carnivore season, through the whole Christmas season. It's going to be a cozy carnivore Christmas. I make myself laugh. And so I'll show you guys what I find and how that goes, because it'll be interesting. So I'm going to wrap this up. I've got a lot of stuff to do today. I really just wanted to give you guys an apartment update and wish you a blessed, happy Thanksgiving. I hope that it's a wonderful day for you and your family. I love you all so, so much. And I will see you again on December 1st with the first vlog of Christmas. And we'll have a great holiday season together. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. And we'll see what we manifest.